What's happening, everybody? It's Sean with reactions to the classics, and today we're back to one of my favorites on the channel, and quickly becoming one of my favorites overall. Ron Sexsmith. This one's titled Third Time's a Charm. Just a selection of Ron Sexsmith songs for the third month in a row, brought to us by our patron and longtime friend and supporter of the channel, B-Mac. Thank you, B-Mac, for spending all the time it takes, and it takes a lot of time, to put all this together. He wants them all to flow and just sound like one complete listening experience, and they really do. So thank you so much for that, B-Mac. If you want to support us in any way, check out the Patreon link below. If it's your first time checking this out, there's two other videos just like this. The first one Trey did, the second one myself and Mackenzie did. So this one I'll be doing solo, but there'll be cards up above that they're in there. Check out the links at the end of the video to go back and watch those. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. If you don't know about Ron, he's a Canadian singer-songwriter, started making music when he was very young. Never hit it big commercially. For some reason, should have, but it's so well thought of. He just came out with an album last year. Some of those are going to be on here, but a little bit about him, and then we're going to jump right in. And a quote from Ron, he said, "I think I got pegged early on in my career as being kind of a melancholy songwriter, which I never really felt was accurate, at least not compared to some people where that's all they do is write sad songs. My heroes have been people like Ray Davies, John Lennon, people who could write about all the emotions. But definitely I feel, just from moving here in Stratford, a lightness that I hadn't felt in a while. I felt sort of like returning to my own self in a way. It's always good for your head if you can write something that's more upbeat anyway." So on that, we're going to start this thing out with Spiritude. It's from the album Exit Strategy for the Soul in 2008. It's a short little instrumental. It's going to flow right into the second song. I'm not going to interrupt him. B-Mac wanted me just to let him roll, and that makes a lot of sense here. The second is Spring of the Following Year from that 2020 album Hermitage. He says, "I'm happy that I'm putting out an upbeat record for what it's worth, especially the first song, Spring of the Following Year, because everyone's almost looking at this year, with COVID of course, as almost a complete write-off, especially the spring. That's a song about tomorrow and looking forward to something." All right, let's check it out. As always, appreciate you, B-Mac. If it's your first time joining us, the music will not be in the video. It will get copywritten. So check out the link below if you want to follow along. And I suggest you follow along because you're going to really enjoy this one. What a great way to start. Spiritude, the first song, just a nice piano and you know, a little bit of Ron's just kind of vocalizing in there. And then Spring of the Following Year. That's what the quote at the start was talking about, and I don't think I attributed it. He was talking about this album, the album he wrote last year, Hermitage, with everything going on in the world, that he's not a melancholy songwriter only, wanted some positive stuff. And that's what this is all about. It starts out the album, a great way to start out an album. He's just talking about, I don't know what next year is going to hold, but I know that my love for you, you know, is true, and will it be this, and this in the year, but it doesn't matter. It comes back to that common denominator. We've got each other, and I love you, and got the nice little spring sounds, the birds, all of that good stuff. So really enjoyed that one. We're going to move on to Deepens with Time off the Forever Endeavor album in 2013. It won the 2014 Juno Award for Adult Alternative Album of the Year. And during several months of tests and checkups, Ron was in a particularly reflective mood, fueling several of the songs he wrote for this album. In the summer of 2011, he detected a lump in his throat. A series of tests followed, and waiting to hear the results put him in a reflective mood. He told Spinner, quote, "It put me in a fog. I wasn't panicking, but I was thinking about my options, and it was uncertain. Was I going to be spending next year battling something? To be honest, I don't think I even told Mitchell Froome, the producer. When I got the results, everything was fine." And he wrote the last verse and a lot of the album with his health issues on his mind. That last verse is not knowing how much time we have and trying to appreciate the people in our lives. Wow, this one sounds like it's going to be fire. Deepens with Time. Now that, boys and girls, is an example why Ron is just a phenomenal songwriter. And when you understand the background of this album and what he thought he might be facing, and I've been down this road a few times in my life when you're thinking you're facing something seriously medically, and you could be, you know, a lump on a singer's throat there's not a whole lot worse things, at least career-wise, than that, and just, you know, not knowing what you're going to fight, not only with your career, but just with your health and your life. It just makes this song that much more powerful. I hear my mother's voice calling me home across the field so long ago. It still rings in my mind. It deepens with time. Feels his brother's hand crossing the street, and when I'm lost, it comforts me. Now your hand is in mine. it deepens with time. And then that chorus, it deepens with time, these precious memories, how they wound and leave a scar, sweetened like wine, hanging over our lives like the moon and stars, makes us who we are, and it deepens with time. He hears the radio and knows the song, and then he gets to the relationship, right? It's going through his life, his mom, his brother, and now we're going into lying in bed, talking till 3, telling each other our hopes and dreams as our fingers entwine. It deepens with time. So they're younger, they're married, they're talking about all their hopes and dreams, and through our hands, it slips away, through our hair, a touch of gray in the back of our minds. It deepens with time. Those memories, life goes so quick. I'm going to be 50 years old in just a couple months. I almost can't believe it. It doesn't seem possible, but I can think back to my 20s like it was yesterday, going, man, you don't realize when you're in that moment how precious it is, because it's on to the next thing, right? You're in a hurry to get where you want to be or where you think you need to be. But songs like this make you remember those things. And man, those memories you hold on to forever, they become so important to you. What a fantastic song. So the fourth song is Seem to Recall. We're going to watch a live performance that's taken. We're going to head over to YouTube. I'll just be in the corner over here, make the big old box so you can watch it. It's from the Junction in Cambridge, UK in 2015. It was the last song he sang that night. There was about 220 fans in a small filled venue. And B. Mac says on this song, I always find how he uses his right, his strumming picking hand, fascinating, as it's so unusual with the placement of his thumb. He's a really good player, but is really unorthodox and cool in a way. And B. Mac is a musician himself, so he will notice these things. So let's check that out. Wow, really enjoy that. Seem to Recall. 2015, not all that long ago, 6 years ago at the time of me filming this. Ron sounds fantastic. Some close-ups on that guitar playing that B. Mac was mentioning. The song itself is about the fading away of a relationship or love or the fire of it. He goes through just a great songwriting effort. As always, The Day Ahead was an open book. For every page I read, a second look. What I knew then somehow, can't put my finger on it, but now I seem to recall doing without. I seem to recall when a daydream seemed to be all I take with me. My wherewithal, I seem to recall. Now we're bumming around, feeling awkwardly at home. Nothing much to say. It wasn't always this way. I seem to recall a brighter day when your light seemed to be all I'd go by after nightfall. I seem to recall. I'm summarizing, but it's kind of faded away, but he's recalling when it was strong. So great songwriting. Awesome performance. Glad that B-Mac shared this with us. And there'll be more live performances to come. Let's go on to the fifth selection. We have Lucky Penny from the Carousel 1 album in 2015. Lucky Penny. We got a little diversity in the instrumentation here. I don't know if that is an organ or a synth. It sounds a lot like an organ, but added a nice little touch to this. A lot of nice wordplay here on the Lucky Penny. Basically saying this girl is his lucky penny, no matter even when he doesn't have a dime. And no one's on his side. Does a little nice wordplay. She's my silver and gold. She's got a hold of me. It lingers when that sliver of hope gets pulled out of my finger. She my lucky penny when I ain't got a lousy dime. And at the end, I bet my bottom dollar when I ain't got a lousy dime. Enjoyed that one. Now let's move on to the sixth track off the Long Player Late Bloomer album. We got Every Time I Follow. Every Time I Follow. Ron sounds fantastic on this. The vocals are great. The instrumentation is very rich. The melody is fantastic. It just shows you how diverse he can be over time. You know, and it's one of those songs every now and then I wonder where you are to quell my lonely and disillusioned heart. The blues are calling me. Oh, every time I follow a tearful memory. Oh, every time I follow. So he gets the blues there, but then in the midst of emptiness, you fill my heart with love and music. And tell me where to start. The music's calling me. Oh, every time I follow, I hear this melody. Oh, every time I follow. Just a fantastic song. Like I said, vocals on that, top notch. Now we're going to go back to the Forever Endeavor album in 2013, Blind Eye. Ron said this is just about how lucky I feel to have been born and raised in Canada, with the whole world seeming to be constantly growing insane, either with extreme weather or extreme horribleness. This is in 2013, man, Ron. It ain't got any better 8 years later. Blind Eye, much more chilled out instrumentally than the last song. Basically acoustic with a few other things in there. Nice slow pacing so you can really drink in the lyrics. You know, and it's about what he talked about. Now that I know what it's about, you know, they're living in a place almost like this diamond in the rough, so they don't have to worry about all the other things going around. But it seems like there might be a little bit of guilt there. Knowing all the tears people cry may fall on deaf ears if we turn a blind eye. We could lose a lot of sleep if we weren't so numb to the steady stream of those who struggle in the night. Through the tunnel at the end of the light, God must have gone fishing now with all the hell's dishing out. One question have I. Don't expect a reply though. All of the tears people cry, do they fall on deaf ears? Do you just turn a blind eye? So while it's about his love for Canada, as he said, he's also being very introspective and kind of challenging in a way, like, are we just going to ignore all of this suffering? And boy, as a Christian man living in 2021, I could ask some of my fellow Christians that same question. Just a well-written song, as you're always going to expect. Now, we move on to Brandy Alexander off the Exit Strategy for the Soul album in 2008. Brandy Alexander. We have some female backing vocals on here. I don't know who it is. It could be Leslie Feist. There's a story behind this song. This is what stinks sometimes. I can't find much out here on Ron. But the story is, of course, John Lennon and Harry Nilsson were downing Brandy Alexanders at the Troubadour Club in Los Angeles in 1974, resulting in behavior that led to their forcible ejection from the club. When Leslie Feist saw Ron drinking one of the cocktails at a party in Ottawa, she asked what it was. Ron told her the story of the Lennon-Nilsson debacle. 3 days later, I received an email from her with this lyric in it. Ron told the Montreal Gazette, so I don't know what part of the lyric. He took it to the piano, and a quick session later, Brandy Alexander had music. I'm a Luddite, Ron said. I don't have anything to record on, so I never had a tape of it to give to her. About a year later, when I was in Los Angeles recording Time Being, I saw that Leslie was playing across town, so I took a cab, and I played it for her in her dressing room. She recorded it on a dictaphone. So Leslie did record a version of this before Ron did this one. Ron said, I had no intention of recording it. It wasn't until I heard her version, which I loved, that I got to thinking that in my head, I heard it as more of a party song. Hers is more of a sultry version I read here. So we do have a couple reactions to Feist and some song battles and stuff up on the channel. So I don't know if that's her in this song or not. It very well could be. Just a clever little thing of likening his girl to his Brandy Alexander, which, you know, it's just Ron and clever songwriting at its finest. Now we'll dial way back to 2002. Cobblestone Runway's album brings us Disappearing Act. Disappearing Act. A really cleverly written song. Some say you've got to lose to win, and any moment now our luck will stumble in and claim us at the lost and found and help us all get our feet back on the ground. Disappearing Act. I want my money back. Disappearing Act. I wish my life had warned us long ago. We're only one half of a disappearing act, which is a line he'll revisit throughout. Who pulled the rug out under us? Maybe all the time in the world ain't quite enough. One day you're saying, look, Ma, no hands. Then it's help me, Ma. I just don't understand. He wants his childhood back, don't we all? At least it's some part of it. I wish life had warned us long ago. We're on the wrong half of a disappearing act. So just kind of talking about the fleetingness of life and how it's not really all it's cracked up to be when you're younger and told everything's going to be great. You're going to achieve all your dreams. I mean, maybe you are, but for 99.9% of it, life has its ups and downs and tough spots for sure. So cleverly written song. Really enjoyed that one. Now we're going to go back to Forever Endeavor, actually for our next two songs. But first up, we got The Morning Light. Remember, this is a 2013 album. This was the first one he wrote for Forever Endeavor during that hell scare that I talked about earlier. Ron said, I didn't want to write a downbeat song, but that's the big question, he told CBC Music. All the people in our lives, do we ever get to see them again after we're gone? There's no answer for any of this. He added, I'm not saying it's a super happy song, but it was a nice sentiment to end on. It's the ending track on the album. How great it is to wake up in the morning and still be here. It's just a good song that completes the album. The Morning Light, just a beautiful song. Really talking about, the fears maybe that we face at night, some of us when we go to sleep, because, you can't run from your thoughts and everything's quiet. You can't distract yourself, and how, pleasant dreams, my love, till we both wake up and the sunbeam finds us aligned in the morning light. Each day starts anew, the old cliche. It's kind of what this is about. Where will we go when it's time to go? Will we turn to dust and climb in the morning light? From our dreams at night, we are torn, but in the morning light, we're reborn. I mean, it's just so good. The whole song is so good. I really invite you. I don't want to read all the lyrics to you on every song, but I invite you to really go back and visit the lyrics on these, because Ron is a fantastic songwriter, and the inspiration, obviously, at this point in time with the hell scare makes this even more impactful. And as I said, we're going to stay on this album, Forever Endeavor, and we got the song Snake Road. Snake Road, a clever little song. Ron described it as, quote, a humorous song, the whole Adam and Eve thing. And it's about temptation, about trying to stay on the path. And that's really what it's all about. He talks about starting talking about all the stuff that kind of gone wrong. He said, now I pray it's not too late to take the chance before it's gone. That I don't go down that same road twice. That I won't be taking Satan's advice. I must admit I paid that price. But I'm saying goodbye to bad advice. So Snake Road, Adam and Eve. The serpent tempts Eve, the whole fall of mankind. So he gets that in there with the snake road. It's very clever. Then he just goes all in on this verse. I love it. People, you can save your judgment for somebody who might give a damn. Go and blow your 2 cents on a horn in a traffic jam. At any rate, it's much too late to blame myself for who I am. Just hope I don't go down that snake road twice and just going through. When I think about bygone days, I was doing everybody wrong, always taking the long way and ending up where I don't belong. Now I pray it's not too late to change the path I'm running on. Then he goes on that I won't be taking Satan's advice. I hope the memories will suffice. But I'm saying goodbye. I hope I don't go down that snake road twice. That I won't be taking another bite of that poisonous apple. And as you see below, now we're going to move on to Ghost of a Chance, which is on the Exit Strategy of the Soul album. Ghost of a Chance, nicely written song, goes through a bunch of things that are kind of difficult in life. I'm on the trail of a storm, and everywhere I look appear the ones that life is torn like pages from a book. Left a soldier on, no shoulder for to lean. I'd be lost without a song, but if your love wasn't there for me, I just wouldn't stand a ghost of a chance. That's kind of the theme of the song. Very well arranged. Ron sounds fantastic on it. And now we're up to our number 13 song. Another video. It's The Reason Why from Long Player, Late Bloomer in 2011. This says it's from a CMT special. I don't know if that's true or not. If it is, back in 2011, I wonder if I could go find the whole thing on the internet, but let's check this one out. The Reason Why. Excellent performance. Didn't expect anything less. Like the environment. I gotta go try to find this whole show because I'm sure I would enjoy it. The song itself, it's great. You know, it starts out as all the rooms are full of empties. The wine attempts to tempt me. Would you help me disappear? And we'll let the path go hungry and head at last to country or a small town away from here. And maybe there we'll finally see there's no reason to try all our lives for a reason why. Searching for that deeper meaning. Sometimes it's not necessarily a deeper meaning. Sometimes your purpose, you're living in it. You're just searching for things and you don't see that. And then that nice little chorus comes in. And then all we could hear is a deafening silence, Hollywood tears and frivolous times, oh, to be near your love. You can wonder where the time went or what it was all meant. It's been a life spent wondering why, looking for a name or coat to pin the blame on. I'm done sighing for a reason why, reason why, reason why. Excellent, excellent song, excellent message. Now we're going to head back to Spotify for 2 songs, but then our final 2 are going to be video performances. So let's go to I Know It Well from the Retriever album in 2004. I Know It Well. It's a short little nice tune. Basically just telling her to hold out hope. I know the feeling that's written on your face where you don't seem quite yourself. You're all out of place. I know it well. He knows her very well. Hope springs eternal 24 hours a day. Yet we still convince ourselves it's out of our way. So they're going through some tough times. When your heart's retreating from this lonely world, that's the time that you must stay, for it needs you. It needs you. I hope tomorrow's clearer than today. Though in your house sorrow dwells, it never stays. I know it well. I know it well. It's a nice little song that, oh, you're going through tough times. There's always a light out there, right? And it's kind of a predominant theme on the selection that BMAC, I know we spent a lot of time putting this together so it flows together. And it seems almost like one album, right, with a theme. So really enjoyed that one. Now we go to our last Spotify track from Forever Endeavor again in 2011, Back of My Hand. Ron told the story of the song to CBC Music. I wrote this initially as a really slow waltz, and I just thought, I have too many slow songs on this record, and I wanted it to be more lighthearted. So I turned it into the song you hear now. It's mainly about the feeling of deja vu. I'm walking around, and everything felt like I'd been there before, and I kept running into people that had been on my mind, and they would come up and say something really nice to me. I thought, why is everyone being so nice to me? Is this what dying feels like? It was just an odd sensation I had, so I wrote this and turned it into a Beatlesy record. Back of My Hand. Ron already described what the song's about. I do really like the last verse. Like the back of my hands, I know it's if there's a God that only he understands. What to us just seems so odd. He's looking down on creation the same way that I'm looking down as I play the baby grand at the back of my hands, like the back of my hands, like the back of my hands. That part is just great. I think there's a lot of other parts in this song that are fantastic as well, but really enjoyed that one. Now, we're going to head back over to YouTube. Our next to the last song, Late Bloomer from the long player Late Bloomer in 2011. This is a performance that he did in Austin, Texas, which is only about 3 hours right this way, due south of me. Let's check it out. Late Bloomer. Great performance. He sounds fantastic. I will tell you, I don't know if Ron's ever coming back, but if he goes to Austin, I'm driving 3 hours to watch it. But just talking about the evolution of life here, once again, like the chorus changes up a little bit, but the first chorus, but I'm a late bloomer, I'm a slow learner, and I've turned the record over. I'm a long player. My song is my savior. I've got to raise it up as far as my spirits can reach, that everyone might see it. In the second chorus, I'm a late bloomer, I'm a slow learner, and I've heard the penny drop. I'm a small player with a tall order to come out on top, and without selling my soul, that everyone might know that I'm a late bloomer. Just an excellent, excellent song. Fantastic performance, very well chosen by B-Mac. And now we're up to our last song, song number 17 from the Other Songs album in 1997. We have Strawberry Blonde. B-Mac says, if I'm ending the Ron Sexsmith trilogy, parentheses, maybe, I thought it appropriate to end where I started with Strawberry Blonde from his second album, and this is live from the Dakota. I've spent many an evening never to see Ron. I've seen Ron at Hughes Room, which sadly closed last month due to COVID after many great decades. I also saw Ron at the Danforth Music Hall and the Palais Royale on New Year's Eve with Blue Rodeo and Friends concert. Ron did Elvis that night, and it was brilliant, just kind of giving you guys a little insight in that B-Mac knows a lot, obviously, about Ron, and has got to see him personally. Hopefully, I'll get to do that at some point soon. Let's check this one out. Strawberry Blonde, fantastic performance in what looks like a really cool venue. He's telling the story of Amanda. He comes across her at the tail end of 4th grade. She came to school one morning. She had that hair of blonde, strawberry blonde. She lived with her mother in an old decrepit house. If there was trouble, she kept it to herself. All summer long, the strawberry blonde, and by her face, there was no way to tell. It seemed like all was well in her world, but the neighbors said her mother had lost her will to gin and sleeping pills. It was no life for a little girl. Still, I see her face framed in blue sky at the top of a slide coming down, and when the sirens wailed, her mother had failed to rise. All the neighbors stood outside as Amanda just stared to the ground. Then we skip ahead, time's flown by, but Ron's on a streetcar. He sees her and with her daughter, Samantha, and their stop was up and they were gone to Strawberry Blonde. Really nice melody, fantastically done, but a heavy, heavy story to it. A great way to book in this trilogy if that is indeed what B-Mac is doing. Now we're up to my favorite songs. Well, look, there's 17 songs on here, man. I don't even know if I even want to try this to come up with my favorite songs. I mean, I like them all, so I don't really know. The Morning Light, we'll go with The Morning Light. We'll go with Late Bloomer, not just for the performance. I like the message of the song. And we'll go with Deepens with Time. But I mean, really, I could throw anything in here. Fantastic offering, as always. As I mentioned back at the start, we have 2 other selections like this from the last 2 months that B-Mac's done. We also did Ron's debut album way back last year for B-Mac. Dive into these things, man. If you like this one, I promise you the one I filmed last month with my daughter Mackenzie is as good or better than this. So go back and listen to that one too. As always, appreciate you guys for coming along for the journey. Thank you, B-Mac. And until next time, I will see you.